Hello, everyone. Um, According to the time on YouTube, it's been about 7 months since I recorded the first video where I went into this, and it came back up. Specifically, a local person asked for me to teach them who had been a former student of the person that I was an assistant instructor for. I went back over old video that I marked private of my time at that school, and it was it's a very sad experience because I sat there watching a younger me, full of hope and believing the lies that he had been told. And I can't help but look at him and think, what a fool. As I said in the earlier video, I feel integrity is the primary thing a martial artist should have. Excuse me, I repeat that. I feel integrity is the primary thing a martial artist should have. And my instructor didn't have any. I have no bones about saying that. I honestly believe that. When I was first working for him, way back in the day, before the event that caused our parting, we had a particular problematic student, and I often had to spar with this student. And this student was very much into weightlifting and being manly, you know? Now, it happened that this person was a kid. They were an older teenager. They're looking to cement their ego, make their way in the world, that kind of thing. And one day, they decided they would try to hit me during sparring. And I don't mean the way you're supposed to spar. This was the first experience I personally had with programming your reflexes, because this person telegraphed like a mule. To punch me, he took his hand from the on guard position, pulled it all the way back behind his shoulder, and then tried to send it forward. I had plenty of time to choose whatever response I wanted to do. And I remember thinking, block the punch out, straight punch to chest at the same time, get the point, right? That's not what came out. What came out was my palm strike on his chin at the button angle to knock him out. It happened without thought. It happened without thinking about it. It happened while I was consciously thinking of doing a different movement. Fortunately for everybody involved, when I felt my body doing something my mind wasn't thinking of, another very surreal, disturbing experience, I might add, I pulled the power out of the blow so that his head didn't go back all the way, he went back a little bit, and then he stopped. I remember asking him if he was okay. He's looking at me frightened because in the panic I hadn't thought to remove my palm from his chin. He was like, yeah. I bring that up because this is the source of the quandary I'm having. Clearly, at least some of what I was learning there was valid, physically speaking. The problem is I have no way to know what is and what isn't. As I look back, I see now that part of the reason why that instructor never wanted me to enter things like a public sparring match at a tournament, why he would really discourage students from doing it, is that he did not want them to go into that ring and do badly. And that was his fear. When they added mixed martial arts to that school's program, he was very critical of it. He did it, I think, because he went, this is the way the martial arts fads are going. I have to do something to make it work or I'm going to lose students. Sorry, give me a second. And I get that. But you still could have had the wherewithal to hire somebody trustworthy to do it. And he didn't do that. Instead, he just let the program wither. Now, maybe it is the American in me, but when someone walks through those dojo doors, the first thing they are looking for is a guarantee that their learning is not going to get them hurt and can provide them at least some measure of safety should an altercation happen. That is what you're actually making your money off of. And I still believe that in my heart to this day because I want to believe, irrationally I know, that that's why people walk through your doors. By the time they're revealed to me, though, that martial arts is really nothing more than a daycare industry, that you're making money off parents not wanting to spend time with their kids, and that you're making money off parents who have problem children who they don't want to deal with. That's the sad reality of the martial arts industry. Actual self-defense would incorporate things such as tactical awareness, improvisational scenario training, and firearms. But you're not going to get that in any McDojo. And that's what that instructor ultimately had. He had a McDojo. And I didn't want to believe this. I don't want to believe this the entire time I was there as an assistant instructor. I don't believe this the entire time I was there training people how to do what I thought would keep them safe. So back to the person who I put the palm strike on. About 2 months after that instance in sparring, which should have made it clear to him he didn't know what he was doing, he decided to get into a fight in the back alley of the school. He lost that fight. Badly, it appears. And the instructor dismissed him, or they didn't come back after that. Now, I ran into this person about 2 years after this event happened. They were still lifting. They were still big and burly. They came up to me and were insinuating that they could take me in a fight. And at the time, young and stupid me, I didn't believe them. Now I do. When you're training in a dojo, you are given a mythos to believe in. If your instructor has any integrity, they live up to that mythos. They explain to you what is traditional, what is just training, what is effective. I can't look back down on my training that I got from him. I can from other people, just not from him. And ferret out honestly what is and isn't there, because there's no way to test it now, not for me. The little snippets of side training I got from people, they've proven invaluable. I don't think I can honestly look back at any of the altercations that have happened or have almost happened to me and think of anything there that I used from the McDojo. You may have seen another video of mine, I don't know if it's still up, where I talked about the Muay Thai guy that challenged me to a fight because he thought he could beat me, and I ended up putting him on the ground in Americana. That came from the MMA training. That didn't come from the McDojo's original program. Having been in the situation now of only having myself to be responsible for, my training has gone through things I know are good for me. I don't know if they would be good for students. And because of that, I'm very reluctant to ever take a student again. I did it once. I did it because that student had been, frankly, in my opinion, gypped. And I did it to right a wrong that had been done to them. And I will never regret that. But for me to take in people off the street and say to them, yes, I can keep you safe. Yes, I can guide you towards the Tao. Yes, I can do these things martial arts is supposed to do for you. I'm not sure I can do that. I could be an awesome McDojo fake. I mean, I was trained how to do it. But that also makes me uncomfortable. The last almost altercation I had was actually quite amusing. In the industry I work, sometimes you get people from foreign countries. So one of the people I had from a foreign country happened to be a Russian, and he happened to be a mafioso. I know this because I looked him up. I caught him in a car trying to proposition a hooker. I then had to call the police. The police show up. They're like, "What do you want us to do?" I want her off the property. I want to evict him." In front of 4 police officers, this mafioso with no fear and no care for the consequences threatens my life. Now, here's where you're expecting me to say I whipped out such and such technique, right? In front of the other 4 police officers, I walked behind one of them to continue having the conversation. I'm sure some people would say that makes me cowardly. No, it makes me smart. If I got into a fight with him, guess who'd be going to jail? Me. Sadly, in my state, verbally threatening somebody isn't a crime, it turns out. So, I look at that technique, that simple, practical avoidance, and I have to think about, where did I learn that from? I didn't learn that at the McDojo. There were no scene training stations like that there that went on, at least not my time there. I learned that from watching Paul Vanak videos about street awareness. So I'm not sure I could be a good guide for you. Everything I've done that has produced a result has produced a result for me. But I don't know if it'll do that for you. And until I know that, I'm not going to show it to anybody. The recommendation to that person who asked is this: find a large school, find something tied to the JKA, find something tied to the WTF, a CLOT organization, BJJ organizations, preferably not the Gracies. I would prefer you choose the Machados. Distance training JKD from someone reliable, such as the aforementioned Paul Vanak. There are things out there you can do that I would have more faith in than me trying to show you what I think works for me. Because what I'm doing based off intuition and based off of what I can prove without many training partners I think will work. And note how I say that, what I think will work. Based off talking to the people who are actively training and have partners, and from people who have been in the shed. And it's a terrible position for me, just so you know. Because my instinct, my emotional instinct is to say, hell yes, step on up. Because back when I was working for the McDojo, I took a lot of comfort and I got a lot of purpose out of teaching people. But now I don't have. And I don't think I'll ever have again. But I would rather live that life with integrity of being honest enough to know that I shouldn't be anyone's instructor right now than take a student and them get hurt and it be my fault. A level of morality that I don't think the McDojo instructors have. Not just the one I worked for, but all of them. So that is where we are at. I wish it weren't that way, but it is.